Hey, what's going on guys? Dylan DeJesus here. Today we're going to be breaking down and tier ranking shoe customizing supplies, sorting them from your absolute must-haves to ones you might want to avoid. At the top of our list, we've got our Soul Survivors, which are the essentials that you can't live without. If you know you're going to be stranded on a desert island and you're going to be working on shoes, these are the products that you have to have with you. Right below that, we have Chef's Kiss, which are reliable, high-quality products that I think every artist should have. Then there's Tape It or Leave It, which are decent, but nothing special, middle-of-the-road type products. They're not exactly going to collect dust. You will use them from time to time. Only in a pinch, these will get the job done if you're desperate, but you don't want to rely on them. And finally, might ruin your custom, use these at your own risk. I've got 30 products ready to go and to be ranked here. There's so many more that we could have included, but I do think that we've covered all of the basics. And of course, every artist out there has their own style and workflow, so all of this is just my own opinion, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight if you're just starting out on which products you need to get started with and which ones you can maybe skip out on. So let's get into it. All right, first off, we have Angelus pearlescent paints, and I think I'm gonna put this one in Tape It or Leave It. It's not something that I'm gonna use on every single pair, but every so often when the design calls for it, it is nice to be able to give it that stylized look. They do have a really cool sheen if you apply the right finisher, so these do come in handy from time to time. All right, next up we've got Angelus Too Hard, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and place this in only in a pinch. This isn't a product that I use a lot, and I think there's a ton of misconceptions about it. So a lot of people reach out to me and ask if they can mix this with their paint and then they can paint on midsoles, or if they should mix this with their paint if they're gonna be painting on cleats. And I just think that this is something that you only want to use if you're going to be painting a non-porous surface that has absolutely no flex, something like the back tab of a Jordan 3 or Jordan 4. So this is an additive that's going to be for plastics and rubbers, but you also just need to ask yourself in general, if you're painting on plastics or rubbers on shoes, should you be doing so? Just because I think that those areas are a bit more likely to fail. That's the first place where some paint might crack or chip. So you kind of want to ask yourself, is there any way that you could just work the factory color into your overall design? So you always just need to be a little bit weary when you're using this product anyway, if it's something that you should truly be painting. All right, next up we've got Liquid Kicks Matte Top Coat, and this is going straight to Soul Survivor. When this product came out years back, it right away changed the game. It instantly became the best finisher on the market, and everybody was just ranting and raving about how easy it was to use and how much of a clean, professional look it gave your artwork. Now we have the Badger Patriot 105, and this is easily going to Soul Survivor as well. I'd say that the Iwata Eclipse is probably the slightly more common airbrush that you might find for a similar market value of that roughly $100 airbrush when you're starting out. But the Badger Patriot 105 is my preferred one. It's what I've used for years. It's an absolute workhorse. It's the easiest to troubleshoot airbrush that I've ever had. I use it literally every single day with every pair of shoes that I paint, and I absolutely love it. Next up, we have a glue and residue eraser, and this is actually a relatively newer addition to my arsenal. It's something I only discovered in the last few years or so, and I'm kind of torn in between Chef's Kiss or Tape It or Leave It. I think I'm gonna go with Chef's Kiss. This is a really cheap product, and it really does solve a problem. I mean, tape residue used to be a much bigger headache. You used to have to dip a Q-tip in acetone or do other things to get it off, and this just completely alleviates all of that. You may not get tape residue on every single pair, but whenever it does happen, just having one of these lying around, it just solves it so easily. Sometimes you might get residue left behind from vinyl as well, and you never have to worry about this rubbing any of your artwork off. So I'm a huge fan of these. Next up, we have one of those cheap cordless portable airbrushes that you see all across Amazon for anywhere from $15 to $30, and this is going to be our first one in Might Ruin Your Custom. We did a full video on these years back, testing one out. I really just want to get a feel for if it was possible to paint a pair of shoes with them, because so many people were talking about them, and it was just a miserable experience. And you know, if you've ever airbrushed before, or if you've ever considered airbrushing, believe me, if your airbrush isn't flowing properly, it becomes an incredibly daunting experience. You just want to put it away. You just tell yourself, I'm just going to hand paint these. I don't even want to use this thing anymore. And I get it, because you think that it's going to save you money. You get one product that is an airbrush and a compressor, essentially, all bundled into one for $20 rather than buying a $75 airbrush and a $75 compressor, you think that it's just gonna save me so much money, but it's just not worth it if it's not even gonna work for you. So believe me, the savings just aren't worth it. Just continue to save up until you're ready to at least get something like the Iwata Eclipse, or like I said, the Badger Patriot 105. Now we have Angelus Too Soft, and I think I'm gonna put this in, I mean, you kind of need it every single time you paint a fabric, so I'm gonna go with Chef's Kiss. Not every single shoe has fabric, so you don't need it with every single pair, but anytime you're doing a sock liner, if you're working on a canvas material like a pair of Vans or Converse, you do wanna make sure that you have a fabric medium like this to mix into your paints. Following that, we have a heat gun, and I guess that has to go right alongside Too Soft, right? Because every time you use Too Soft, you need to use a heat gun so that you can properly activate that fabric medium, but you need to be really careful with the heat gun. Not only can you potentially burn a hole in shoes, which I've done many a times, especially on stuff like Roches, but I think a lot of people misuse these and are using it to speed up the dry time of their paint in between layers, and I don't think that's something that you should be doing. I think that you should be giving your paint time to cure, give it 20 minutes or so of just air dry time, so just be careful when using a heat gun. Next up, we have deglazer or acetone, and just because of how often you'll need this, I guess it has to go in Soul Survivor, I suppose. You're gonna use it to prep every single pair of shoes, and there's other times that you're gonna use it as well, in case you ever get any paint on any unwanted areas or paint on the midsole, things like that. It is something that you wanna have nearby, but it's never gonna be anybody's favorite product to recommend. Then we have the Angelus Matte 4-Coat, and this is going straight to Soul Survivor as well. This is another one of the best finishers out on the market. It's super similar to that Liquid Kicks Matte Top Coat, and you really can't go wrong with either of them. And I'm so glad this product debuted a few years ago, because it replaced another product we'll be talking about here soon that I'm not as high on anymore. Next up, we have toothpicks, and if you know me, or if you're a part of the toothpick gang, you know these have to go straight to Soul Survivor as well. I can confidently say that I use toothpicks on every single pair of shoes that I paint, and I'd be lost without them when it comes to detail work. Next up, we have fine line detail brushes, which are a funny follow-up to toothpicks, and I think this is gonna be my most controversial take, but I'm gonna place these in only in a pinch. This is like the definition of only in a pinch for me. I don't use them that often. I'm so much more confident using something like a toothpick or an airbrush needle, and the reason I even got started using those is because detail brushes always failed me. I think because I didn't take care of them when I was starting out, but they would just always fray on me, and I just never had a good experience using them, so I started using things like toothpicks and just really never looked back. Following that, we have leather dye, and I think I'm gonna place this in... This is kind of right in between Chef's Kiss and Tape It or Leave It. You know, dye, it does come in handy if you're let's go Chef's Kiss, all right? Let's go Chef's Kiss. Because if you are really trying to prioritize durability, I think it does come in handy to try to give yourself that slight sense of comfort knowing if the paint were to fail, if it were to crack a little bit. Hopefully, if you dyed the leather underneath, you won't have any white showing. You'll at least have some of that dyed leather underneath if some of the paint on top were to crack. So not something you're gonna use on every single pair. It's not exactly an enjoyable experience using it. You do need to be careful with it, but it's a good product to have around. Next up, we have the Angelus Glitter Lights, and let's go ahead and place these in only in a pinch. I've only used this product a handful of times over the years. I think I did a pair of Nipsey Jordan 1 cleats years back. I think I used it on the Christmas Grinch Vans, the ones right behind me. I used it on the red stripes, and it's a really easy product to use. I'm just not doing that many glitter designs. Now we have Adhesion Promoter, and this is, where do we want to place this? I mean, I guess I use it on every pair unless it's a fabric like Vans or something, kind of by definition. If it's something I use on every single shoe, I guess it has to go in Soul Survivor. Another one of those products that isn't super fun to recommend, but it is essential if you're trying to, you know, prioritize durability and wearability for your shoes. Next up, we have masking tape, and I didn't want to include a bunch of different versions of tapes. I just want to include masking tape as a whole. So I guess you don't need it on every single pair. Sometimes you might not tape off the midsole. You might just be freehand painting more. So I guess with that in mind, we can place it in Chef's Kiss. Not for every single shoe, but you're probably going to be using it most of the time. Now we have an interesting one, an airbrush spray booth. Not everybody airbrushes. Not everybody has room for one of these, but if you're airbrushing, it's pretty important. I think I'm gonna go Tape It or Leave It for an airbrush spray booth, you would actually be surprised how much airbrush spray actually gets on your surrounding area. So definitely make sure that you're not airbrushing near anything that can't get any paint on it. If you're gonna be airbrushing indoors, you really do want, I think this is an important product to have. I think I'm gonna move this up to Chef's Kiss. If you're gonna be airbrushing indoors, you need one of these. Let's leave it at that. Next up, Angelus paints, right to Soul Survivor, the gold standard in the shoe painting industry. Everybody uses it, everybody loves it, can't go wrong. Next up, we have Angelus Too Thin, and this is the additive that you'll need if you want to airbrush with those Angelus paints. You may not use it for every single pair. It does have other uses besides just making your paint airbrush ready, so I'm going to place this in Chef's Kiss. Not for every single shoe, but you are going to use it quite often. Next up, we have a standard paintbrush set, whether you want to use Princeton brand, Angelus brand, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, whatever the case is, you can get them in big value packs. Gotta have these lying around, right to Soul Survivor. Next up, we have Sandpaper, and I'm gonna go ahead and place this in Chef's Kiss. When I first started out, it really wasn't commonplace to necessarily sand every pair of shoes that you work on during that prep process. And it wasn't really until I started working on things like cleats where I had to discover a much more rigorous and thorough prep process. And from there, I figured that a lot of the shoes that we're working on typically aren't made from the highest quality leathers. So if we rough them up a little bit more with some finer grit sandpapers, now that paint might adhere a little bit better. Now those vinyl stencils might adhere a little bit better. And I started to have way less paint cracking, way less paint peeling from stencils or tape once I started sanding just about every pair of shoes that I work on. Next up, we have Airbrush texture stencils, and these have to go to Soul Survivor for me. I would not want to be without these. They're so easy to use. They can add so much depth and detail to your design so quickly and easily. I just love using them. There's so many patterns that you can pick from, and I just think they're a part of what I try to add to every pair that I work on as a little bit of a signature style. Now we have Jacquard metallic airbrush paint specifically, and I think this is gonna go in Chef's Kiss. I think it's the best metallic paint on the market. You're probably not gonna be doing metallic on every pair, but I think these give the best overall look when it comes to metallic airbrush ready paints. Next up, we have Posca pens, and I think these quite literally might ruin your custom. I think so often people try to use these as the only type of paint on the shoe, and I just don't think that they're gonna hold up over time. I think you're much better off using leather paint for leather shoes, and I think that if you're just doing small detail work, they're totally fine, but they should never be the only thing that you're using on a pair of leather shoes if you actually want them to hold up with regular wear and tear. Next up, we have what is probably the most complicated one for me to answer, duller. And the reason why is because years back, nobody was a bigger proponent and telling more people to use duller than me. And the reason for that is because the finishers just weren't where they are now, and so often people would have amazing artwork and it would just have such a painted look, and not in a desired way. It would be a pair of shoes that if they just had a cleaner matte look to them, they would look like they came from the factory because the artwork was so good, but they just had this sheen to them that you could completely tell that they were painted by somebody, and it just totally ruined it so often. So I was telling everybody that duller will help solve that problem at the time. So I did love it at one point, but since the Angelus Matte 4-Coat has come out, I haven't used duller in years. So just to be fair, I have to put it in the bottom tier because it isn't a product that I use anymore. I haven't had to use it for years, even though at one point it was something I loved so much. Now we have tracing paper, and this one, we'll go ahead and put that in tape it or leave it. If you want to find a way to get an image onto your shoes, I think that tracing paper is just a classic technique that you can trace the image on there, transfer it over to the shoes. Super easy to do. You don't need any complex vinyl cutters. This is going to be the cheapest solution to getting an image onto your shoes. So it's a great technique to have, something good to have in your arsenal. It's not going to be as easy to use as just creating a vinyl stencil, but good to have. We'll throw that in tape it or leave it. Next up, we have cotton swabs or Q-tips, and let's go ahead and throw these in Sole Survivor. They do get used on every pair of shoes. If you ever get any paint on the midsole, dip a Q-tip in some acetone, you're able to rub it right off. If I ever get any paint on any other of the surrounding panels, the first thing that I'm gonna grab is a Q-tip. If you ever need to prep the eyelets because you're worried about the paint rubbing off when you pull the laces through there, a Q-tip is the perfect little thing to have to really get inside of there. So at the end of the day, they're not the most fun product either, but they are something that gets used a ton, and you can pick them up real cheap. Next up, we have solar color dust pigments, such as their glow in the dark or any of their thermoactive options. I'm gonna throw these in only in a pinch. You're not gonna be using them that often, and I don't think they're actually that easy to use from my experience. I would never recommend these to somebody for their very first design. If the very first pair of shoes that you ever want to paint, if you decide that you want to do some type of glow in the dark or thermo-activated pigment design, I think that these would actually be a really hard place to start. You probably only want to start doing these once you have a little bit more experience under your belt. I think that they turned out a lot better with an airbrush than when I tried hand painting them. So if you're not airbrushing yet, I really wouldn't recommend them either. So I'm gonna leave these that feels right and only in a pinch. Now we have one of my favorite products, a vinyl cutter. The one that I use is a Silhouette Cameo, and I'm throwing this bad boy right in Sole Survivor. I love my vinyl cutter. I do use vinyl stencils on probably 90% of the designs that I do, and because of that, because I work with vinyl so often, I no longer need to do the image tracing technique or things of that nature, because I have such an established workflow with stencils that I'm confident enough that I can turn almost anything into a stencil. So I love one of these. If they were deleted from existence, I would be devastated about that for sure. Now we have Angelus neon paints, and let's throw these in Tape It or Leave It. Same with pearlescence. Not every design is going to call for it, but when you do need some really bright saturated colors, these are good to go. I'm not going to put these quite in Chef's Kiss either, because they can be a little bit tricky if you're unfamiliar. Again, this is another one of those where if the first shoe you were ever to paint, if you wanted to do a neon design, I think it could be a little bit of a learning process, because the neons aren't that easy to work with if you have no prior experience. So right there in that mid-tier, Tape It or Leave It. And our final one is going to be the Angelus Matte Acrylic Finisher, not to be confused with the Angelus Matte 4-Coat. And I'm gonna have to place this one in that bottom tier as well. Since that matte 4-Coat came out, I no longer have had to use this product because the matte 4-Coat is that much better, and it's completely eliminated the need for this. You used to have to mix this product with duller to get a nice clean matte finish at the end if you didn't mix duller into any of your previous paints, but you just no longer have a need for this. And since that matte 4-Coat is urethane based, you're also getting a little bit more of a scratch resistance rather than just changing, the overall sheen. So it's just a much better product that you no longer need to use this one. So let me know what you guys think about how this tier list turned out. Hopefully you're not too mad at me for not loving detail brushes or Posca pens, but hopefully you guys were able to learn something along the way today. Now, please make sure you go ahead and drop a like on this video if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed, and everybody get out there and just create.